moment you've all been waiting for. A book.
My name is Tanya Schnabel. I teach 6th grade language arts at Sherburne-Orville Middle School.
We're starting our new book, Among the Hidden. The book is Among the Hidden by Margaret Haydix. It's about a boy who is living here in the United States. He saw the first tree shudder and fall far off in the distance. Then he heard his mother call out the kitchen window, "Luke, inside, now!" It's in the future, and at that time it's a totalitarian government, and the government has decided that each family can only have 2 children. He reminded himself, I will never be allowed outside again. Maybe never again, as long as I live. He's this 3rd child. He's forced to stay in his house. All right, I want you to stop for a second. If you were never allowed to go outside again for the rest of your life, I want you to think in your head, how would you feel? When I read the book the first time, I just said, oh, kids will love this, thinking about not being able to leave their house.
I feel good because I wouldn't have to go to school.
All right, you'd feel good because you wouldn't have to go to school?
He can't go to school anywhere, though, because he's in hiding.
Okay, he's in hiding, he can't go to school anyway. You know, we don't know that whole thing. Would you like to be in your house and never see your friends again? No. Maybe you don't want to do the schoolwork, but isn't school a place where you meet friends?
Yeah. I probably wouldn't want to live. I mean, that'd be like your whole entire life. Like, we can live to 100 years old if you, like, in good health.
It'd be awful because if you don't have any friends and you can't go out and have fun, so there's no point.
It'd be really miserable, like, because you'd be stuck inside and you couldn't talk to your friends again.
All right, good. If you had friends, you couldn't talk to those friends. Bill?
I kind of feel the same way of everybody here. Like, it would kind of really stink because you wouldn't be able to go see your friends or have much fun.
All right, what I'm hearing is friends is a major deal in this.
And
yeah?
I mean, yeah.
You're saying you'd sneak out.
Yeah, I'd go play in the barn.
You'd sneak.
If I thought it was
might
really
do that
safe
like
and I was
really early
quiet,
in the
I would.
morning.
All right, so you would kind of plan it when you go. You wouldn't just dart out there. You just kind of. What about you? Anytime.
Yep.
No thoughts.
Well,
yeah,
not
I
when-
know you. There's the king risk man right there, out of jail today.
What they could do was just be taking like a bunch of sheets out there, like one of them, and they could like just put the sheets or whatever over him when they were walking out.
So they're gonna hide him in between the sheets?
So it would just look like they were dragging.
So here's Mom, here's Dad, here's Luke in between the sheets, and we're gonna pretend?
I do facilitate, and I do break in, and I do ask my own questions. I work hard at how can I set it up so they can get on their own, they can get where I want them to get.
Listen, do you think his parents are those kind of people that they're gonna help him sneak out of the house?
No. His mother kind of, because she's really caring.
But his dad,
Yeah, kind of. It kind of says in the beginning of the book or somewhere that mother wouldn't let his father even talk about leaving Luke somewhere. His father's kind of thinking about it, but his mother wouldn't let him. It was like in the first chapter.
All right, so that's a pretty darn good question.
Why didn't he just run away?
Yeah, that'll cause some thought.
Who would just want to sit in a room all day?
Yeah, the problem is where do you run to?
Because
He could just
he's
he could
never
run.
been to town or something.
He could run and go to his
Think of his social
relatives or something, have
Alrighty.
them adopt him.
Yeah, do you think his relatives know he exists though?
No,
It said
but
that the mother
she
did
could have his mom write a letter about that and then
Kind of fake it out, I mean?
yeah.
So he can become somebody else? Yeah,
like
that's
one of
not
those
a bad
James
option.
Bond stories.
All right, so there's some possibilities. That's a good question, too. You guys might have a hard time picking a question here.
When I ask them to write questions, they're not just any questions. I mean, they come from somewhere. Let's go. Chelsea, you're up.
Why do they have to get rid of the pigs?
All right, this is a very, very, you can go right to the book to find. Not necessarily easy, but you can find it in the book. I want to hear the thinking behind where did that question come from, and what is it in the text that made you wonder this, and why?
the government wanted them to get rid of them.
The government wanted them to get rid of them. Why?
Because since they were cutting down the forest, they were going to build new homes for more people.
What kind of people are going to live in those homes, Liz?
City people.
City people. People with
smell.
money, and they won't like the
smell of it.
Therefore, you got to get rid of your smelly pigs. Now, where's the problem in all this getting rid of the pigs? Chelsea.
All their money's coming from the pigs.
What could happen to Luke's family? Brett.
They could like become all poor and like stuff like that because they can't like get any money.
They might not be able to take care of themselves.
Well, they're pretty poor already. Just the Hogs, they like give them more money than
enough to at least live on, right? Well, what if they don't have those then? What's going to happen? I try to get them to think about what is the bigger message here?
They could die because then they would run out of all their money for their plants, their their crops, and then all the corn would have to go away once, and then they wouldn't have no money to buy any more seeds to plant the corn.
All right, so they could starve. We could have starvation. We talked about that, right? These people might have nothing. They can end up homeless. They can end up on the street. We know some of the things that can happen that go with that. If this is what happened in the story, what are some big life lessons that we need to learn? Question, yours is next, right?
Yep. Why does Luke feel so foolish when he asks a question?
I love this question. I couldn't have written better questions. Sometimes they were coming up with some things that I wasn't getting that on my own, that point of view.
Because he might think that his brothers are going to pick on him because he asks so many questions, and that his mom and dad are going to get mad at him for asking all the questions.
All right, he has a lot of questions, right? He's very curious. So maybe his parents would get mad at him. Okay, maybe his brothers would pick on him. We know about those brothers, right? Lil.
He may not know if asking questions are good or bad because he's never like asked questions before.
He doesn't have anything to compare to. He doesn't know, except for comparing with the brother, he doesn't quite know what's right or wrong. Sometimes I'll paraphrase for them or restate. There are certain times when you don't ask a question, right? Even when you've got one in your head. Are there certain situations in life where you save the question for later? Yeah. Right? There are. Yeah, when someone's died or something like that, and the situation is very, very serious, and it's just not the appropriate time to ask the question. You kind of save it till later. I really need to hear what they're saying because sometimes they don't even know what they're saying. So if I can kind of hear the crux of that and then be able to bring that back to them, that's what I try to do.
Why didn't Luke just run away?
Why didn't Luke just run away? All right, let's go, hands. Emily.
Because if he ran away, most people wouldn't know that he existed because it was born in his house, and if the people saw him, then they'd know something was wrong, and they'd ask what family he was from, and then his mom and dad would be in trouble.
All right, so if he ran away, right, he could get his family in trouble if somebody discovers him. All right, or?
He could be afraid that he could get caught and something would happen to him.
All right, he could be afraid that he was going to get caught and something would happen to him. Well,
something that might happen is he might run away and just go into hiding by himself, so he can actually do whatever he wants, not have his family tell him what to do.
All right, so this is the other side of the coin. This side over here is saying, yeah, if he runs away, he could get caught. And this side over here is saying, well, Will's saying, at least in his point of view, well, yeah, but maybe he won't get caught. Maybe he can go find a house and he can finally have a life, right? I'm not looking for a right answer. They know if I ask a question or if another kid asks a question that there's a horizon of possibilities out there for them. And we do that through talk.
Obviously he's shy because he's never seen anyone besides his family. So he went out. Yeah. And so if he went out in the open, maybe he'd just barricade himself and go in a cave or something and just die.
Well, he might not because next door neighbors could still be awake and see him sneak out of the house.
All right, so why doesn't he? Maybe because he has a fear that somebody might see him, right? Would you? Would you sneak out if you were in that situation?
I would.
Yeah.
You would? All right, you're a risk taker.
I wouldn't care, man, being stuck in the house all that time.
All right, would you just dart out for the heck of it, or would you kind of plan it out?
I'd plan it out, but
Run to this tree, run to the bottom.
I think the kids are really starting to relate to the character and getting that whole who's risky and who's sneaky. That is an important part of why the character makes the decisions he makes. Now listen, if he does this sneaking,
I like this question. If he does this sneaking, what are the consequences to the family there?
They'll get all worried.
They might get caught. If he gets caught, that the family might get in trouble, and
He'd have to go to work.
and he'd have to like get taken away by the
Yeah,
government.
you might. It really gave them a chance to explore, their own moral. What would you do? Would you break the law to begin with? What kind of person are you? How do you feel, Luke? How do you think Luke feels about letting his family down or pleasing his family? How do you think he feels about that, John?
He probably wants to really please him because since he probably feels like he's a burden because they have to worry about him and stuff. And he can't do all of his chores, so his brothers have to. So he might feel like he wants to, make him happy or something.
Yeah, so do you think that might play into your question of why he doesn't sneak out?
Yeah, and if he did, it'd have to be a two-part. His parents would have to help him. He couldn't do it alone.
Yeah.
He'd have to, bring out food in a bucket, disguise it or something.
All right, so in order to do that, he'd have to ask his parents, right?
Yeah, his dad's, kind of psycho about it. His mom's kind of
His
for it.
mom doesn't
Yeah.
she doesn't care, but his dad will get all upset on him.
All right, the father could get upset, but the mother might not care. What about the brothers?
They'll pick on him.
So there was a whole other level of thinking and feeling to that.
They might think that if he did it the first time, he'll do it again, and he don't want to really get his mom and dad mad at him because they already are.
All right, so if he does it once, maybe that he'll lose their trust, right? If you do something once and then they don't trust you the next time around, were you going to say that?
I'm gonna say they could stop trusting him and they'd be watching him every.
Good, they could be watching him every single second and he'd never have any privacy, right? They'd always be with him. They'd never let him go. John.
And his whole life has been based on hiding.
Yeah, he doesn't know any different, does he?
Yeah, he just hides since he was a toddler.
And he's always done what he's told, it sounds like to me, right? He's a rule follower. If I didn't send them out to write questions, they'd be bored out of their gourd. If here's the worksheet, here's what I think, I wouldn't be teaching them to be a better person in life. And I think part of my job is not just to teach kids to be better language arts students. I really want them to have some of the skills that they need to be a better person when they get out there in the world. And out there in the world, you have to think on your feet. You have to make some decisions right in the spot. I'd like to be able to help a kid to find their voice, their real voice. I think it's a powerful life lesson for them, not just a language arts lesson for them.
How would you feel if the one person you had to talk with had to go to work?